Hi everybody, I wanted to do a video today. It's my first video. I've never done a YouTube video before. It's a review of the DYSON Corrale hair straighteners. Now the reason I wanted to do this video was because when I was doing some research about buying them, I started looking online for other people's videos to see what they had to say about it. And it seemed to me that most of the videos that were on there were either made by some kind of influencer or were some kind of paid promotion, because most of the people that were doing the videos weren't hairdressers, and they were very effusive about how wonderful these irons are. Now I am a hairdresser. I've been a hairdresser for 20 odd years, and when I first seen these irons, I was very reluctant to even consider purchasing them, because they are the most ridiculous price. They're £400 in the UK. I don't know what that is, what they are in other countries, but I would imagine in the US they must be around 600. But £400 is an incredible amount of money. It's 4 times as expensive as the brand leader currently in this field, which is GHD. So there had to be something really remarkable to justify that kind of price tag. Now I've over the years bought lots of Dyson products. I've got the air blades, and I've got a heater, and I've got the hoovers. So I'm usually quite impressed with Dyson products, but I still was reluctant to pay 400 quid. 400 quid is an enormous amount of money for some straighteners. But like a lot of people over Christmas, I'd been looking at them and humming and hawing, and then I looked on some videos, and everybody was sort of raving about them. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get a pair. I'll get my money's worth, because I'll use them on clients. And what this video about today is first of all my shopping experience with Dyson, and then I'm going to explain to you I've only used the product once, but I'm going to tell you what my impression of was using the product. I'll unbox it a little bit as we're going on and show you, what you get in the box. But first of all, I'll start with my shopping experience. So I placed the order online, 400 quid, and within a few days I had a text, to say that my item was being shipped, and that was all good. Now, obviously I don't need to use irons myself, so when I received the product, I didn't use it for a couple of weeks because there's no one to use it on, because at the moment we're in lockdown in the UK, so I can't use any client. And I wanted to go and get a block, which is like a sort of doll's head from my salon, and just practice on that a little bit. So for the first few weeks, after receiving the product, I didn't use it. I'd looked in the box, and when I looked in the box, I thought it seemed quite heavy for the product, but I didn't think much of it. So anyway, a few weeks later, I decided to start charging the product, because you have to put it on charge for quite a while, and to get them heated up. I brought the block home, and I was going to practice on the block and just see what I thought of them. So when you get the product, it comes. This is the first box that it comes in, and then it comes. You have to empty all of this. Now, within this box, when you take the lid off, I'll lower this a little bit, perhaps you can see it. There we go. So when you take this lid off, first thing you notice is that it's actually really quite heavy. Now I've already opened this box, so it's a slightly different. It's slightly different when you open it up, but it comes with quite a nice kind of cover for the product. Now, obviously, this is probably aimed at women who just using it for themselves, because hairdressers generally wouldn't like that kind of case. You'd want something that was a little bit more protective and a little bit less sort of pretty, shall we say. This was the actual irons themselves. Gotta say, the colours I weren't that keen on, because it kind of reminded me of things that I used to buy in the 80s when it was all a bit disco-y, and this sort of pink and black, and to me it looks a bit tacky, but that's, I kind of put that aside. It wasn't I wouldn't like that as a colour scheme if I could choose, but that's the choice that you had. There is another colour available, but I picked this one. And then underneath that you've got this is a stand. It's a plastic stand for the irons, and I'll take it out and show you. Again, I've got to say, left me a little bit underwhelmed because I really don't like this colour, and I just felt it was a bit tacky, you know. This is the way you kind of put it together, and it's sort of like this, and sorry, like this, I think. And you know, you put your stand, you lean your irons against it here. That just doesn't seem great to me, to be honest. And then below that, you've got a box with another box, and that comes with a very large sort of adapter. And on the end of the adapter, you've got a magnetic sort of plug that fits in on the end of the irons there, which is kind of cool. You know, that bit I thought was pretty much okay. So that's what's in the box. Now, the actual irons themselves, when I got my irons, you know, I charged them up after a couple of weeks. You have to flip this open to open it up. The first thing you notice is they're really quite heavy. I mean, noticeably heavy, not just a little bit heavy. They're really quite heavy. I'm going to turn this back up so you can see me. So they're very heavy. Now, when I got mine, I noticed something rattling in the box, and if you look here on this on the irons, you'll see there's a little airline toggle. Now, because of the batteries that are inside this straightening irons, you're not allowed to bring them on a plane if those batteries are connected. So what Dyson have done to try and get around that problem is they've introduced this toggle here, this airline toggle. And what you do is, if you're about to fly on a plane, you pull that out and you disconnect it. Now, I'll put it out for you. I don't like doing it because it's a pain in the neck. Okay, so now you can see when it's pulled out. And what you can see is a tiny little bit of plastic that attaches that toggle back in. Now, when I got my irons, I'll fix that back in a second. Yeah, when I got my irons, that toggle was in the box, you know. So because I didn't use it for a couple of weeks, I didn't pay much mind to it. It was only once when I switched the irons on, that I had an in-flight light come up on here, which indicates that the in-flight mode is on, and they won't heat up because that's the safety feature. Without that, you wouldn't be able to take them on a plane. And this is what Dyson have done in order so that you can take them on the plane. Because the idea, I guess, is that, you know, for these rich women that can afford to spend 400 quid on a set of irons, they put them in their travel case and take them with them. Now, obviously, that's not what my intended purpose was, but that's what it's for. I gotta say, this is just, I think this is a huge design flaw, because I'm quite technically minded. I fit kitchens, sometimes my own kitchen and bathrooms and stuff, you know. I'm quite good at DIY. For the life of me, for the love of money, I could not get that toggle back in. So I called Dyson, and I'd had them a couple of weeks, and you're able to return them, I think, for 35 days. So I called Dyson to say, look, you know, what's going on? I called the customer services. I was on the phone for 1 hour on hold. Now, this is for a £400 item, 400 quid, yeah, so they kept me on hold for 1 hour. Their customer service centre is in South Africa, because all of the girls that came on the phone had very, very heavy South African accents, which made it difficult to understand. But they were helpful. Explained to the girl what was going on, and she said, "No, that's not right. It should have came with that toggle already inserted." And I said, "Well, it hasn't, and I can't get it back in." And she said, "No, what we'll do is I will arrange for a new set to be sent to you." I was a little bit irritated, you know, this is a £400 item, but I said, okay, that's fine, sort that out. She told me that an engineer would call the next morning to arrange for the new product to be sent and for these ones to be collected. I said, okay. Next morning, an engineer called. He asked what the problem was. I told him again, and he said, well, can I take control of your phone to have a look at it? So I said yes. He took control of my phone so he could see what was going on. I showed him the toggle that was missing, and he said, you know what, actually, there's no need for me to replace them. I can just send you a new toggle. And I said, well, you can, but I couldn't get it in, you know. And he says, well, you should be able to get it in. I'll send you a new one. So that's what he did. He didn't arrange for them to be returned and for a new set for me to be given. He arranged just for a new toggle to come. I'm thinking to myself, hold on a second. this is a £400 item and they're expecting me to fix it, you know, with not really any apology. I was really quite shocked at that, you know. 400 quid, 4 times the next, you know, the leading player in this industry, which is GHD, yeah, 4 times their cost, and they sent me something that's broken and asked me to fix it. So so I was a little bit irritated, but I thought, you know, just send it me. I'll do it myself. And anyway, a few days later, I got the toggle, and as I expected, for love nor money, I could not get that toggle back in there. It's a tiny little plastic thing. If you hold on, I'll show you. So this is the spare one that they sent me. If you look at that, where's the camera? Where are you? Okay. If you look at that, you'll see that that little bit of plastic has got a little bubble on the end, and it has to go in a hole on this iron, but I couldn't get it in. I just couldn't get that little bubble in there. But why should I? Why should I have to do that for 400 quid? You know. So anyway, now I've got the new toggle. Still can't get it in. I called up Dyson, and I'm getting pretty hacked off by this point. Once again, I had to wait another hour. An hour for their customer services. You're just on hold constantly. Finally, I got put through and explained what the situation was. The girl said, no, that's not right. You should have been given a new set of irons. I says, I know that, that's what your colleague told me. But then the engineer came on and he decided something different. And she says, no, that's not right. We should send you a new set of irons. So I was like, okay, can you sort that out, please? She said she would. An engineer would call me the next day to make the arrangements. So I said, okay, next day an engineer calls. He starts asking me what the problem is, and I said, listen, I'm not going through this again. I've explained it to your colleagues, read the notes, yeah. All you're here to do is to arrange for these to be changed, you know. So he said he would. Now, my billing address is for my salon, but my obviously we're not there at the moment, so they had to deliver it to my home address. They never asked me about my address, and they sent the irons to my billing address. And even though I never had them delivered to that billing address because it's closed at the minute, and I sitting here at home waiting in, you know, the day for this delivery, because you can't go out. You got to wait for this delivery. And then I get a call from this guy, and he says, I'm outside, you know, I can't get in. And I said, well, just press the buzzer, I'll let you in. No, I can't do it. There's no buzzer. And he was like, what number is it? And I said, well, you've got it on your delivery. Anyway, it turned out that he was at my business trying to deliver them. And obviously I was at home waiting for him to deliver them. So now I'm really, really, really pissed off, to be frank, with the service level. Obviously it wasn't this delivery guy's fault. He said, look, I apologise, you'll just have to try and take it up with them. When I tried to take it up with Dyson, they said, oh no, you have to rearrange the delivery with the delivery company. And I mean, just a complete hassle. No one apologised. No one said, I'm sorry, it's, you know, this is not acceptable. You've ordered this super luxury item. So they arranged for another set to be, the same set to be, I had to arrange for that set to be re-delivered to my home address. So finally now I've got the product, yeah? So I've got the block here that I'm going to practice on, you know, and I've got these irons, and I charged them, and I tried to use them. And I gotta say, I was really shocked. I was really shocked that this is what Dyson has put out, because, you know, the whole play that they make is that these blades are like really sort of cushion the hair and protect it from excessive heat and this, that and the other, and they may do that, I don't know, you know, they definitely do move, they've definitely got some give in them, but when I put the product on, when I switched it on to try to use it, it just feels so heavy, and it's really cumbersome. It's not easy to manipulate. It doesn't feel right. No, I'm a professional hairdresser. This is what I do for a living. I use irons all the time, but these just do not feel like what any professional would want to use. I don't think so. I mean, maybe I haven't given it long enough, you know, because I have only used it once, so I'll be honest about that. But I was so underwhelmed with this. Not just underwhelmed. I wouldn't give you 50 quid for it, let alone 400. I really wouldn't. I'm shocked that they put these out. Now maybe I'm not the target market. Like I say, I think these sort of home grooming products that they're doing, you know, the curling irons, the hairdryer and stuff like that, they're obviously designed for kind of rich women, you know, who've got more money than sense, frankly, because they're not professional products. They certainly don't seem to have taken any advice from hairdressers on these products. But when you're using them, it just feels so heavy. So I'm thinking, God, part of the reason why I wanted it was because they're hands-free, you know, there's no lead. So you kind of think, oh, it's going to be easy to manipulate and you're going to be able to, but it's that weight. You can't get used to that weight. It just feels too heavy. So I really didn't like that. The next bit is actually when you put it on the hair, and it just didn't feel hot enough. Now I had it on the hottest temperature, and when you sometimes use irons, if they're not hot enough, they kind of drag a little bit in the hair. And as a hairdresser, you know, I'm always very conscious of keeping clients' hair in good condition. So I don't ever overuse irons. I only ever use them as a finishing tool, not as a sort of lazy way of doing someone's hair. So I only ever use them as a finishing tool. But they need to have a certain heat in order to do that and do it properly. You can do that. You can have heat without burning the hair, and this just didn't feel hot enough, and I had it on the hottest temperature, and I just found it really pretty poor, to be honest. And so there was that. I mean, what they reminded me of, anybody you know, with a few years on them will remember when I first came into hairdressing 20 years ago, straighteners were becoming really kind of big then, you know, and everybody wanted to do them. We had these ultra sleek hair. It was the first time that they'd ever had proper sort of straightening irons that worked. But they were really big, they were really chunky, they were like, the blade was about this wide. And you had to be really careful not to burn your client's forehead because they were so clunky and heavy and awkward as you were trying to use them. But they were what we had at the time, and everybody, you know, thought they were great. But, you know, you just had to be careful not to burn people because they were difficult to use and they were clunky, and that's exactly what these feel like. They feel clunky, they feel heavy, and they don't feel hot enough. And that's the reason why when GHDs came along, why it became a $1 billion industry, because they were so kind of revolutionary, a little bit like the iPhone, you know, that I'm using now to film this. You know, it kind of really changed that product, and it made it really took it on a leap. You know, they were much lighter, they were much hotter, they were much easier to use, they were much smaller, you know, which allowed you to get really close to the root and to control the hair. To be honest with you, these just felt like the old-fashioned ones, and I personally really didn't like it. I mean, now, I'll be honest, the whole experience of shopping at Dyson, I think is pretty outrageous. You know, like I say, I've bought over the years lots of products from Dyson. They are a premium company, but I like premium products. I like quality products. I always like to buy the best that I can afford, you know, and I like to afford the best. I do. But if you're spending £400 on some straightening irons, first of all, I want the customer service to be completely top notch. You know, keeping me holding online repeatedly for an hour without any kind of an apology, it's just not good enough. It's not good enough. Then I complained to Dyson by email, you know, and I said to them, I'm really unhappy with the way, you know, you're dealing with this. It's completely unacceptable, and I want someone to call me. It took them 3 days to respond to that email, and when they responded, they didn't call me, and they didn't deal with the issue. So this is completely unacceptable. You don't get to charge, you know, if you go and buy a Cartier watch, the reason that, you know, part of the reason that you spend that kind of money is, first of all, the workmanship of the watch, but secondly, it's backed up by a quality service, a premium service. And Dyson have got a nerve charging 400 quid for these products. Yeah, it's the same for the hairdryer, which is 300 quid, and the curlers, which are 450 quid, and giving that kind of service. You can't do that. You know, if you want to charge them money, give the service and give the product. And I'm sorry, but this product for me is not the one. I wanted to do this video because I know that, you know, probably like me, lots of people are going to sort of look online and see what you know, what people are saying about it. But I'm telling you now, I watched a lot of videos about this, and I don't think any of those videos that I've seen, I don't think gave an honest assessment of this product. I think they either got the product for free as some kind of paid promotion. You know, there was some kind of influencer that said, you know, say something nice about this and you can keep it, or maybe they were paid for it. I don't know, but I'm telling you, their experience of it wasn't my experience of it, and I'm a hairdresser, so I think I know what I'm talking about. So that's the DYSON Corrale. I hope you find this video informative. Leave a message below. I'm not planning on making a career of this, but I hope you like the video. I hope it's been helpful. If you've got any questions, pop them below. Maybe you can subscribe. I will do some more videos on hair and hair products. This is going to be the first. Usually, you know, I like to say positive things about people, and if people deliver a good service to me or give me a good product, I am the first to say complimentary things. So don't think that I'm just beating up on Dyson because I like to be negative about things. That's really not the truth. I like to be positive about things, but I'm always honest. And that's exactly the same with my clients. You know, sometimes you get to tell clients things that they don't want to hear. It's also the same with products and services. You know, if you give me good service, if you give me what I'm paying for, you will find me the nicest, kindest person on the planet. But if you try charging me an enormous amount of money and then don't give what I've paid for, you're going to hear from me. And this is my response to DYSON Corrale. So I hope you find the video interesting. Any questions, pop them below, subscribe, and thank you very much.